Thank you to each and every one of you for joining us this morning on a rainy April. April showers bring more flowers. As I mentioned, we did have the community listening session earlier in the week, and this is now the business listening session. Before we begin, though, we want to take a moment of silence to remember our friend and our colleague, Eric Gutschall. Our thoughts and our prayers go out to him and his family, and he has really helped us in the past year as our liaison. Moving forward, today we have a packed agenda. Quickly, we're going to tell you about what CPRO has been doing during the COVID-19 response. I cannot believe we're going on our 7th week. Actually, 6th week. We shut down the office physically on Friday the 13th in March, and we've been busier than ever. Then we're going to have our speakers talk about their challenges, opportunities, and resources. We'll do Q&A. For those of you who have joined us this morning, you will be on mute. Please use the chat function to submit your questions. If we have time, we will open up mics, but as we learned from the community session, it's best to use the chat function. And then we'll just remind folks how to stay connected. What I loved about the community listening session is people were making connections on the chat. So please feel free, don't be shy. And we're also recording today. Real quick, CPRO over the past 6 weeks has really pivoted, like most businesses. How do we actually operate in this new environment? These are unprecedented times. However, people are really coming out of the woodwork. The community is coming together. Businesses are coming together. And it's amazing how innovative folks have been. Our Buy a Nurse Lunch program has raised over $40,000. It's now fully funded. And now we're looking to pivot to do something else. If you want to support businesses on the Pike, look for the orange banners. If you know a business that you frequent that does not have an orange banner yet and they need one, please let us know. So there's a lot of things going on. Go to columbiapike.org. And now really is the main event. I'm going to turn over the program to our Program and Events Director, Stephen Gregory Smith, to introduce our speakers.
Good morning, everyone. I'm just going to go around the speaker roster and introduce everyone. When I say your name, just wave. First up, we have Diana and Vivek Nakarmi from Pentagon MMA. There they are. After that, we'll have Travis Weiss from Rebellion on the Pike. There's Travis. Hi, Travis. Then we have Harry Katrivanos from New District Brewing Company. Hey, Harry. Then we have Tara Palacios from Arlington BizLaunch. Hi, Tara. Then Darren Wendroff from Wendroff and Associates. Hey, Darren. Good to see you. Then we have Nick Rajpara from Small Business Administration. Hi, Nick. How are you? All right. So kicking it off first, we'll go to Diana and Vivek Nakarmi. Can you just tell us in 5 minutes, if you can, strengths, weaknesses, what's happening, what's working? How are you guys?
All right, in 5 minutes. Okay. We are doing well, actually, surprisingly. We closed our doors March 18th. And 2 days before that, we started playing around with virtual classes. So after we shut our doors, we had already been running virtual classes for a few days. There was a good test for that. And now, I mean, we're getting really creative. There's a lot of things that we're able to do now that we haven't been doing before. We're doing virtual kids night in addition to live virtual classes that we're running. They're super interactive. We have maybe like 30 to 40 people, 30 to 40 students in each class on Zoom, which is pretty great. Yeah. They get a great workout. They get that connection to their community that, you know, it's so important to have right now. We do like one-off yoga seminars. We did a Pilates seminar the other day. We have kids night in, all virtual. We do story time for the kids. There's a ton of things that we're coming up with now.
Yeah. The whole idea of doing the classes also is to kind of give some sort of normalcy to these kids, right? Because everything is kind of they're missing a lot of the activities. And another thing that we're doing using our character development program that where like we at the end of the class would roll a what called chore dice, and that gets swapped out every week. And basically we roll the dice, and whatever chore comes up, and that's the chore that they have to do. And parents are loving it because they're helping out in the house, wiping down the table and clearing the table, mopping the floor. And so parents are like posting those pictures. And we tell the kids that if your parents don't post the pictures, I said, we believe you did it, but
you didn't do it.
You didn't do it. We have to see it. So they're making parents, and it's kind of getting parents, getting kids engaged in helping out, and especially right now, what we need to focus on is like when things like this happens, crisis like this happens, there's two things that brings out of people, either really good or really bad. And we've seen both of those. So we're trying to bring something good out of these kids, by helping their parents
and the adults.
and the adults as well too. So our adult program is doing pretty well as well.
Also for the kids, we're doing a 31-day challenge. So they rack up points every time they do these chores, every time they take classes. They rack up points to the extent where they can win like obstacle courses, they can win, and we'll be shipping all that stuff to them. So there's a lot of there's a lot of prizes they can win there too. So it's kind of like a month-long encouragement to win.
Yeah, and some of our families, some of our kids, kids' parents, and also like our families that, adult students that have been coming here, they lost their jobs. They, and they weren't able to continue because of the payment wise and things like that. So what we did was we also created a scholarship program where we kind of started ourselves where, you don't have to pay, just keep doing the virtual classes, keep doing, you have full access to everything. What we started it like that. And now like we have few families actually funding that. We started it, but now families are getting involved and say, hey, look, I just want to pay someone's 1 month of classes. Wow, and so the scholarship funds are like kind of getting, so we are looking for creative ways. Idea is right now to survive, but at the same time, we're still part of this community. We're all going through this together, and we want to continue we want to continue helping not just us, but everyone else, so like what earlier, we talked about like going to going to, like local businesses to support, and things like that. We want to see like once this thing passes, we want to make sure that everybody is here, just like it was.
And we still have our full-time staff going, and some of our part-time instructors, and they're all getting paid. So we're keeping our fingers crossed for that PPP loan that we still have not gotten, but hopefully that helps.
Yeah, one of the challenges is that, everything that all the helps that are out there for businesses has been reactive instead of proactive. Like for example, getting like any kind of like grants that's out there. I mean, literally we apply within minutes of it comes out and it's gone, and I'm glad somebody's getting it. But, even like, I think the Arlington's coming out of the grant, Arlington County, and that's May 1st, and there's beginning of May. And we are like, we're okay, like what Diana said, and we're not doing great, but we're not like, we know that we're not going to shut down. But, it's like, I think, it would have been a little bit better if that have been a little bit proactive for many businesses. So, but we're doing okay, I would say.
Yeah. Good. Glad to hear it. And we will speak to the Arlington grant and other things a little later in the program. But it's fantastic to hear that you guys are just rolling with the punches and evolving like all of us are trying to. It's great to hear your ideas. If you have any other challenges, need help with anything, please feel free to let us know, but you're always in our top of mind.
Thank you guys for all that help. We're really excited about the new banners.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
You guys are doing great job. So thank you so much. I see all the orange banner like when I drive by Columbia Pike. So great job. Thank you.
I'm going to go pass out more this afternoon. So you'll
Awesome.
be getting some your way very soon.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. Take care, Diana and Vivek. Okay. Next up, we have Travis Weiss. Hey, Travis. Travis,
guys, how are y'all?
from Rebellion on the Pike that
Yes,
not
sir.
only has amazing food, if you haven't.
Thank you.
If you've not been lucky enough to go yet, this is the time, but also a commissary with
Yep.
toilet paper, everyone, and hand sanitizer. So Travis, take the wheel. Tell us what you're doing.
All right, first off, I need to get on that short dice that the MMA guys are doing over there because I got a 2.5-year-old at home that doesn't know what to do with himself anymore, and my wife's going a little crazy with him. So
Connecting businesses.
I'll be hitting you guys up soon.
Travis.
What's that?
I said connecting businesses.
There we go. So a couple of words I've heard over and over again. Kim said one of them, and the MMA folks said it. Pivot is a big one. Creativity, normalcy, and survival. And these are 4 words that my partners, our employees, our guests, our friends, our family, we spoke with some of you guys, are words that keep coming up. And as a business owner, you know, the first instinct is survival, right? Well, what can we do to survive? What can we help our neighbors? You know, I mean, Arlington's a big area, so obviously we're trying to focus on the people that are closer to us, folks in the Avalon, folks along Columbia Pike, folks in our general reach, you know, because people are kind of supposed to stay home, so we're trying to reach out to those closer to us. But how can we survive and how can we pivot our business to focus on survival and helping those in need? And then the words creativity go hand in hand with that. So I don't remember all the dates exactly, but I think it was the 18th when we were no longer allowed to have regular business. So we had to go down to 10 people. And then a week later, it shifted to a different plan, and then alcohol became available. So we've tried to get creative along the way. And what we've really focused on is being good stewards of the access we have to products that a lot of people haven't. And that's where we really started putting our attention was we have these relationships with vendors, some local, some on a national level, that have massive inventories of product that, because it was business as normal until this thing happened. So we were able to work out some great relationships with our vendors to stock up on toilet paper and sanitizer wipes and paper towels. It was kind of our first initiative to get that commissary up and running because people were suddenly without those basic things that we have every day and never think about. Nobody thinks about like, oh, now I got 2 rolls of toilet paper left. I can stretch that out for a few days. Now it's like, pun intended, oh crap, like, what am I gonna do now? I don't have toilet paper. So that was our first step, was get the commissary up and running. And then we just, through that, a lot of our guests started asking about, well, what food items can you get? I was like, I can get everything. I can go to Restaurant Depot and get it. I can get it from my butcher. I can get it from my broadline suppliers. I get it from my produce suppliers. So what we started doing was doing these family meals that really took off, really became successful and very popular. And, we tried to make them affordable. Basically, we were putting on these meals that would feed 4 people for $44. And through it, we tried to have some fun and get creative with it and give people items that they could take home that were basically 100% prepped out, like you'd find it in like a commercial kitchen, but they required a little bit of cooking when you got home, maybe roasting some Brussels sprouts and then tossing with the dressing that we provide, stuff like that. So it became really fun because people started putting up pictures and videos of them taking these prep meals and then finishing them at home and having a home style dinner that was I'm starting to find out it was enough food to feed like 8 people. So we do like to do big portions over here. But it's been a lot of fun to do that. And now we've started to get, our neighbors involved. Again, a lot of people in the Avalon come here and we have like this Facebook Messenger group and they just spit ideas to me like, hey man, I haven't been able to get this meal from a different restaurant that I really love. Is there a way you could like replicate it for us and help us out? So it's really been about just trying to be part of the community and seeing what we can do together. Like what I think Diana and Bet were saying, it's the survival aspect again. It's just we're not trying to make money. We're trying to keep staff working and we're trying to take care of our neighbors. So we're doing pretty well. Rent's getting paid, bills aren't backing up, and we have 9 full-time employees right now, which is awesome. We're getting ready to get DC back up and running. We did get approved for our PPP, both in DC, Virginia, and our North Carolina location. Haven't seen those funds yet, but we do have the email saying we're good to go. So we'll see how it goes. But yeah, I mean, it's been a community-focused community effort. And then with those relationships we've built, we were able to do a community marketplace, one in DC and one in Virginia, where it was free for all restaurant industry workers that are out of work right now to come and pick up carrots, onions, steak, ground beef, sausage, paper towels, you name it, we had it. We took care of over 200 people in DC, and I think this past Monday we did 125 folks. We definitely reached out to Arlington County Police Department first after the Mega Mart incident last Friday. We actually got a commendation from the district attorney and the captain of the police force commending us on the job we did with the social distancing and masks and gloves and just being efficient and responsible while trying to provide a service for, you know, our out of work workers. So we're taking it one day at a time, but, you know, we're having fun. Our staff's happy because they're not stuck at home all day. They're able to come to work and, you know, see some of their regulars. I would say for the businesses that are open, they can all attest to this. Our customers in this community are so generous. I mean, incredibly generous with the tips they're providing our staff, care packages. You know, as we're trying to take care of them, they're taking care of us. So it's been awesome. I think when we all come out of this, we're going to have a deeper sense of pride in our community and our relationships and how we've all overcome this obstacle to, like, let's think outside the box. Let's do this together as a community. So I'm glad I could come and talk to you guys about this. It's been really cool. I ramble a little bit, so I'm sorry about that, but thanks for having me on.
No, thank you, Travis. Awesome. I mean, I will say there's such innovation in just this little block area of Columbia Pike between Pentagon MMA and you guys with the commissary, Acme Pie with their outside the box thinking with their meal deliveries. Even the wig shop has PPE. And that is something everyone needs to know, because I stopped into Papillon Cycles and they were like, honestly, we need gloves and masks. And I was like, the wig store on Edgewood has gloves and masks. Go get them. So
I'm glad you mentioned Saul and Acme. We're actually talking about the communities coming together. We're going to be doing a Mother's Day breakfast together, you know, for to go. But he's going to be making quiches, and we're going to be making the mimosas and the flowers and the gift side of it with a big picnic basket. So it's another part of this community just kind of working together. So we're really excited about that. So
that's awesome.
Watch our social media after this one. It's going to be awesome.
Awesome. We'll look for it too, and we'll put it on ours. Amanda will take it down and put it up there. But Travis, like, we're huge fans of Rebellion, and thank you for doing all that you're doing. And I'm so glad to hear it's working out. It's not ideal, but this is a new world. We got to roll with the punches.
Is there a quick question? Because we put this question on a lot. Is there anything any of you guys can't find? Because we try to pull every string we can to find stuff for people. I mean, the Harris Teeter back here in Columbia Pike, down near Annandale, is stocked to the brim with toilet paper and paper towels if anybody needs it. Obviously, we'll keep carrying it for this neighborhood. But is there anything you guys can't find that you've heard people asking for that's still rare out there besides a cure?
Alex Held just said yeast.
Active or dry? What are you looking for?
Yeah, Alex, what do you need? Active or dry? Hit us up in the chat.
I think we've also heard that flour's been hard.
Active.
Flour is really easy to get. Yeast is like, it's hit or miss. But I do have a very active sourdough starter at home that I am more than happy to share with anybody. If you do check out my social media, you can see an awesome focaccia I made last night with it. It's a great starter. It's actually a really cool story. If you check out Chef Joanna Heigl out of DC, she's been sharing her starter with, like, over 500 people now during this. And she puts a basket out front. People can pick up starters every day. So I'm actually one of the first, I think, 20 people to get her starter. And I've been growing it now for about 45 days. So
we've got a few people that actually have some items. So I will take all these down and I will put you in touch with all these people that are looking for things. Travis, thank you so much for that offer.
shoot me a list, and then I will respond via Instagram.
Okay.
We'll do a post and a story, so guys, just follow our Instagram. I'm not trying to pick up followers, just check it out, and I'm just trying to help people out where we can, so let me know.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Awesome, Travis. Thank you so much. All right, moving on. We are going to go change our attention to New District Brewing Company. Harry, how are you guys? What's happening?
Well, thanks. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. We're hanging in. Much like Travis. I mean, we've lost all of our inside sales in our tasting room. Also our distribution, to restaurants, taverns, etc. So what we've had to do, like everyone else, in terms of adjusting, and where we were a little lucky, is that we had started to make canned beer prior to this shutdown, to give people an option for takeout when they left the brewery if they didn't like growlers. We were very fortuitous in this because it's really cans is what we're mainly selling now. We're still selling growler fills and growlers to go and delivery, but it's mostly cans. We're using our bartenders to do the deliveries rather than an Uber Eats or something like that to help the guys stay employed. We've with the pivoting and surviving, certainly surviving is a big part of it. Having lost, like everyone else, a lot of our revenue stream. Unlike the folks at Pentagon, we're not going to be doing beer online with anybody. That's kind of hard to do. We can't give our product away free to the community. That would be frowned on by many. So it's a little bit different what we're having to go through. On the focusing of the survival part, now that we've got some time underneath of our belt, I think like everyone else, we're grateful to be making sales. We're doing better than we thought we would with the sales, but certainly it's not sustainable. If this were to go on for a year, let's say, no, it's not sustainable as a business operation. Because aside from losing tasting room and distribution sales, of course, we're also losing festival sales and things of that nature. We were the exclusive beer at CPRO's Blues Fest last year, and of course we don't have that. Hopefully those types of things will come back online, but we really don't know when. The other thing that we're facing in terms of supply side issues is as all of the small and mid-sized breweries have shifted rapidly towards cans, we now are experiencing problems in getting cans that we can put our beer into. And so that's only recently popped up, but where we had been able to do, in concert with another brewery, we worked together on canning and, on canning. We were operating mainly on a just-in-time type of basis for things. We can't do that now. So we've had to go out and buy up several months worth of supply in advance. It's actually being delivered into the brewery, I think today or early next week. So we've had to lay out a lot of cash in advance in order to bring the cans in order to keep the online sales going, which we have to admit have been much, much better than we thought they would. We do delivery in Arlington, Alexandria, a little bit of Fairfax, but it's primarily Alexandria and Arlington where the deliveries are, and all the online sales are really coming in through there, even with the people coming down to pick the beer up at the open window that we have at the brewery. So we haven't experienced any supply side difficulties other than with the cans. We don't have any yeast problems, which is good for us, or malt or hops or things of that nature. All of those are operating fairly well. We've almost sold out of growlers. We're able to get some supply in, but the people who do our growlers are not operating at full capacity either. So they're slower in responding to than what they have been in the past. But our main issue is getting cans and all the associated equipment that goes along with it, items that go along with it, in order to keep going. But we're going to be good for a couple of months. We certainly hope that by then we will at least be partially open. We are not planning or anticipating a full opening for a while. We think that it's going to be a phase type of thing. Maybe they let us open up with social distancing, so they'll reduce the number of people in the tap room when we do open. That's not that hard for us. We had put a plan in place for that. We thought that we might have to do that prior to the shutdown. So we have that plan in place. We're a little bit luckier, maybe than a restaurant, maybe than Travis, in that all of our tables are basically on wheels in a big warehouse, and we move them around however it is we want. So it's pretty easy for us to pull them out of service in order to reduce the number of people that would be in the brewery, which is what we're anticipating, at least initially. So, and now that we've kind of gotten to the survival point, when I say that, we know it's not sustainable, but we're getting by. We're now starting to implement a Monday and Tuesday sales, where we're going to be donating 25% of the proceeds to a rolling set of charities, a different one every week. The first three is CPRO, the nurse, buy a nurse lunch. Then it's been followed up by supporting I still call it the Arlington Hospital, where the head of the foundation there was actually a bartender at New District. So we're going to be we're going to be contributing to the hospital, and then to Arlington Food Assistance Center, AFAC, whose back wall is our back wall. We're neighbors. We're also a little different than the other guests, participants, in that we're in an industrial park. We're not on a street that has street traffic and that type of thing. We're down near Shirlington, across 4 Mile Run from the footbridge, and right at the dog park, which is of course also padlocked. So you don't have any traffic going up and down the street. I can tell you, business down in our end, in the industrial park, is really bad. All of the caterers are closed up. The automobile companies, tire replacement companies are suffering greatly. Some of them have told me they've been there 15 years. They've gone through booms and busts, but they've never been through anything like this. And I mean, I can say that a lot of the folks in our area are not paying their rents. They're not doing well at all. So we consider ourselves luckier than all of our compadres on South Oakland Street. They've got it a lot harder than we do. At least we're making sales. At least we've been able to make some adjustments, and we've been able to keep staff employed, at least at this point in time.
Awesome, Harry. Well, keep us abreast of everything that you're doing. We will help in any way to get the word out. The Blues Festival, we'll see what happens in that regard, but whatever the alternative is, we'll roll with the punches, and you will always be our exclusive beer guys, so no worries there. But take care, and we will keep in touch with you. Let's move it on. Next up, Amanda, we have Tara. Hi, Tara. This is Tara Palacios with BizLaunch.
Hello. How are you all?
On this Zoom. How are you?
I'm doing good. It's good to see everyone. I love being able to do these opportunities because staying at home can be quite isolating. So this gives me the opportunity to really connect with everyone again, and I love seeing everybody.
Yes. Well, tell us a little bit about, there's been questions in the chat about how successful have local small businesses been to secure loans or grants from SBA. Mm-hmm. It's not been an easy thing for everyone. Can you just kind of speak to what is out there resource-wise, and tell us a little about this upcoming Arlington grant?
Oh, sure. It's my pleasure. Hello, good morning, everyone. Thank you for having me. Thank you, CPRO. I can tell you that in Arlington County, as soon as the stay-at-home orders were put in place, there was a lot of folks reaching out, a lot of small businesses, lots of entrepreneurs. Alex Held, who's on the Zoom call with me, and my colleague Lourdes Morales, the first 3 weeks, we were on average talking to about 50 small businesses a week. Wow. And so the need is there. And I loved what Travis said about pivoting, because that's one thing that we've seen a lot of our businesses do, is pivot fast, come up with different ways of doing outreach and being creative. Because I'll say this, the Arlington community is amazing. People have really come together. We've had folks reach out, the Arlington Can Do initiative to help give gift certificates. I've seen all kinds of things. We currently work with the police department, and we came up with a hashtag called Arlington Strong to really talk about the strength of our community and the people that make up it and our small businesses that are a part of it. And one of the things that we started doing right away when we saw what the need was, and in communicating and talking with our small businesses, is on our economic development website, we've compiled a list of resources for small businesses. We try to vet as many of them before we put them up, but it's information as to who's providing grants, the SBA, what the SBA was doing as part of the CARES Act. We've been working really closely with Nick from the SBA, who you'll hear from later on, but just trying to get as much information out there that is valuable to people as they, oh goodness, hopefully they're trying to download something on my computer. Try to get information that's accurate, that is useful to our small businesses out there as quickly as possible. So we started out, we had on our webpage just this very long laundry list that was getting kind of like cumbersome. So now when you go to the webpage, we have divided all of our information up into different buckets. So there's a bucket for the CARES Act, which talks about the PPP, the EIDL. Nick did a webinar with us along with the Arlington Chamber, and he went through all of the different available programs under the CARES Act and what small businesses can take advantage of. We have information about tax release programming. We've been working really closely with our employment center for unemployment benefits. There was a grant that they had given out the first week of the stay-at-home order. So there's a lot of information, and what we're trying to do as a team within economic development is really cultivate it and put that information up there so that people can access it. Also, for all the businesses on the call, we have a curbside pickup as well as professional services. So as the businesses have pivoted, we want to highlight and feature you, and that has gotten a lot of click-throughs, whether from our website or from others' websites. So it's a great way to advertise and market what you're doing for free. We also have a directory that you can input your information as well, and let us know what you're doing. We've been very active on social media. We had our Biz Arlington Strong initiative, which received over 1 million hits as we share information. So I ask people to still use the hashtag because it's getting a lot of leverage out there in the community as people describe and talk about what products and services that they're offering. We've also been doing a lot of work around the region and talking to different organizations and groups, different communities that are offering grants. And I felt that it was really important in supplementing what the SBA was doing was to have a local grant that we could offer to our businesses that are here that doesn't have quite the same amount of paperwork that you need to put together. We're working with our friends within other county divisions, but the grant itself is to provide assistance of up to $10,000. It is, if you're headquartered here in Arlington and you employ less than 50 people, and you can show that there's been a 35% or more decrease in sales, you are eligible. It includes nonprofit organizations as well as our small businesses. And we feel the pain in the conversations that myself and my colleagues have been having with the business community, and we want to be as proactive as possible. Some really great news is last night, our IDA put in an additional over $300,000 into the fund. So we're now at $1 million for the fund, which we're very excited about. And so we're also knowing that there are other organizations that want to place money into the fund as well. And it will be, the way we're looking to have it launch is that first week in May, have it open for a few weeks. We have partners that will be helping with the application process in different languages, but also in English to help people. And then it's not also that here's the money and bye, see you later. It's we will provide technical assistance to those people that need it, and so that you have a mentor and a strategy in place as we begin to come up out of the pandemic. So really to strengthening the businesses that we have, that they're around once the stay-at-home orders are lifted. And so that's some of the highlight. One thing I do encourage everyone, there's a fourth bucket. We're doing a business survey. We've been surveying our businesses in March. There's a new survey that's out in April, which asks what are the needs of the community. We use the results of that survey to be able to show the board the need that our businesses have, which was able to help us get the grant, which was phenomenal. And we're so excited that we have this opportunity to be able to help our business community.
And how much money is allocated for this grant again?
So right now we're a little over $1 million.
Okay, awesome. Awesome, well, thank you, Tara. And oh my goodness, I don't know what to say. It's so great that we have these things to just see each other's faces again. I miss you so much.
I miss you.
It's
I miss
so
you
great
guys.
to see you.
Yeah.
All right, well, if anyone hears snoring, it's this little monster on my lap. It's not me. That's Eddie, my pug. So anybody hearing snoring, that's what's happening. So let's move on here. Oh, okay. Diana has another question. How will they decide how much money each business will receive, Tara?
So it's dependent on how much the business needs. The grant is up to $10,000. So part of the application process, you will say what you'll be using for the money. It can be, and we're still working through some of the finer points. So if there's a group, and I'm included, we're feverishly coming up with a criteria, but some part of it is like, is it to retain employees? Is it also in making sure that you can use working capital? Or if you, as your pivot, you want to offer different types of like food truck assistance. So all of that will be part of that criteria that we're fleshing out right now.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks so much for the answer. And now, Amanda, we're going to pivot to Darren Wendroff from Wendroff and Associates. Give a warm welcome to Darren. How are you, Darren?
Yes. Hi, Stephen. Thank you so much. I was laughing because you said, if anyone's snoring, and then you switched to our slide. And I was like, wow, all right. You're just taking the shots early, huh?
No. I meant this one. This little one is snoring, but that's because pugs aren't interested in business. So, you know.
No, mine's sleeping over here in the corner, and I have a pug, half Boston Terrier as well, so I know what you're talking about.
Lovely.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm Darren Wendroff. I'm the Director of Communications for Wendroff and Associates CPA. Brian Wendroff, my brother, is the managing partner. I just want to thank CPRO. This is really wonderful. I want to thank everybody that's spoken, everybody that's attended, but the people who have spoken, just so much innovation and adapting. It's really inspiring. I think for us, we always try to be proactive. That's what we always say. We're always trying to be proactive. How can we be more proactive? How can we think ahead of what our clients are thinking or needing? I used to be a magazine editor for Men's Health, and I'm the communications director for the firm. And, in magazines, you always try to think ahead of what people are thinking or what the trends are. So for us, number one, just to hear everybody's innovations and how they're adapting is just, I always love to hear stories like that. It really inspires us to think, well, what else can we do? Or maybe it helps us make a connection of, oh, we could do something different like this, So I think this is really great. And also, if you're in a tough situation, which obviously so many people are, to hear stories about how people are making some changes and treading water effectively, or even thriving in some cases, or growing, is really inspiring to help them kind of get out of their ruts as well, you know? So I think this is great. In terms of what we're doing, you know, we're being proactive. That's what we always try to do. So we started our COVID resource center, and what we try to do is make it very local. Obviously talk about breaking events regarding the grant programs and support programs, but also we tried to connect with all the local groups, you know, with what BizLaunch had done with the grant program. We had mentioned that, I think either Friday or Monday, we had sent out a newsletter about that. And that's wonderful. I really love how you announced the program, but you didn't start the program yet. Because what we've seen is a lot of people will announce and start on the same day, and the next day everything is gone. So this gives people a chance to prepare for this, which is wonderful. We really appreciate that. So yeah, I mean, so we've done that. We've tried to become an aggregator in terms of connecting with a lot of local economic development centers, organizations like CPRO, and understand, like, when, you know, aggregate all those newsletters, and when they launch something, we will send it out in our newsletter or a direct email to our clients to let them know this is going on, this event is going on. We did a webinar with Rafael Martinez with the Atlantic Union Bank, which was great, about the PPP program. And we tried to make it very Q&A. You know, we feel like Zoom or GoToMeeting, GoToWebinar have been very effective in terms of scaling our communication outreach to the community, which has been helpful. And we're organizing right now just a Q&A session, because I think, you know, this sort of information and knowledge and inspiration creates the liquidity in the mind. You know, I think when these things happen, we get stuck. And that's a tough place to be as an entrepreneur. You don't want to be stuck. So when you start hearing these ideas, you start hearing information, it creates liquidity in your own mind, you know, that flow to allow you to think, well, what can we do? What can I do differently? Or maybe I haven't approached it from that aspect, or maybe I have an aspect that they didn't even mention that it inspires that thought in me. So that's what we've tried to do. You know, we can't directly, sometimes we can't directly affect what's going to happen, but we can do what we can in our own process and hope that creates change in other ways, you know? Like, more concretely, we created a PPP consultation directly for all our clients. And then we launched that externally as well, where if anyone wanted help understanding how to apply to the loan, how much they would qualify for, how to get the loan forgiveness, how to manage the loan internally, because there's a lot of questions around that. We had a consult directly for that. And then the Q&A that we had the other day, and that we're ongoing doing the Q&A webinar, it answers that in a scalable level. But if you want one-on-one consulting, we have that specific service just for that. Internally, you know, we have a really wonderful company culture. I will say we applied for the Virginia Telework program in 2009, and we have been promoting that program every year. And it's a shame, I think last year the program went away, and I have a feeling it's going to come back. But we've had a telework program in our company since 2009, and we were able to switch to remote seamlessly. It did not cause any change in our production. And you can imagine this happening in May, one of the busiest months during tax season, was pretty abrupt. But luckily we were able to switch seamlessly. In terms of maintaining our company culture, we have a Zoom lunch once a week, which has been very funny, if anything. The first one, we were like, yeah, let's play this game. I organized this game we were all going to play on Jackbox Games. It's going to take, you know, a certain amount of time. We had an hour for the lunch, and literally the whole lunch meeting was everybody getting online to the lunch meeting. So that was funny and enjoyable. And, but no, it's been great. You know, it's, again, I appreciate adaptation so much. It's inspiring, and just the, you know, it's changed a lot. We're not able to see our staff like we normally do. We're not able to see clients like we normally do, but we're able to connect in deeper ways in some ways through these weekly luncheons. They're very, through the Zoom calls, they're very meaningful and enjoyable and fun. And so, yeah, you know, it's up and down, but, you know, we're just trying to do everything we can to support our clients and the community itself. I know it's an extremely tough time.
All right, Darren, thank you for that update. We feel you. It's interesting, we get to connect one day a week, and that's when we see each other from a safe distance at the Columbia Pike Farmers Market on Sundays from 9 to 11 a.m. is the only time we get together, 6 feet apart. But the Zoom has been fun, entertaining. All of our dogs have been our coworkers, so it's been an interesting ride. Lots of barks. So moving on now, Amanda. Next up, we have, drum roll please, everyone beat your desktops. Next up is Nick Rajpara. Welcome, Nick, everyone. Good morning, Nick. How are you?
I am great. How are you, Stephen?
I'm doing fantastic. Snoring dog on my lap and a whole bunch of business innovators on my Zoom. So we're doing great.
Wonderful.
Can you speak to, tell us a little bit about what SBA is doing and anything that Tara spoke to? Just give us your perspective, sir.
Sure, absolutely. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to pause my video if that's okay.
Sure.
I'm having some data issues, and plus I find it tremendously distracting looking at myself talk.
Right.
I have been, first of all, I want to start off by saying what a pleasure it is to be part of this. I think I have done at least, I don't know, it feels like hundreds of webinars since this started, and this is the first one of this nature where it's actually a business listening opportunity, and it is just so great and inspiring to actually hear from local businesses right in my backyard, and what they're doing, their adaptation strategies, and really what these programs are for and who they're intended for. It's just easy to kind of like be in your world of the federal government and just kind of like be a policy geek, but just another thing to actually touch, feel, hear businesses are actually impacted by this, and who these programs are really for. So I want to thank you folks for having me. I want to thank good folks at Arlington Economic Development, Tara and her team. We work very closely. They're the ones who connected us. So her group. So they've been really instrumental in keeping me connected in what's going on in Arlington County. So if I could, I'll just take a step back here. This global pandemic has had unprecedented impact. First and foremost is health and medical impact. It's very scary what's happening. So I hope you and your loved ones, everyone on this call, is safe. Number one. Number two, it's had an unprecedented economic impact. And our agency is a small little agency. I think probably the smallest, if not one of these, probably the smallest or one of the smallest in the federal government. And we are tasked to be front and center in the economic response to COVID-19. So it is a daunting task. And the reason I guess we're front and center is because so much of the economy is based on small business. Small business is the backbone of the economy. Big businesses are great, but as you know, that small businesses are places where most people get their first job, most people are employed. I think it's 6 out of 10 people are employed in small businesses. I think 9 out of 10 people get their first job out of small businesses. So, and plus they're disproportionately impacted by this, by this pandemic. Particularly, businesses that have, that we've heard from that have been forced to shut their doors. They've seen their revenues just completely stop. So we've tried to create these programs in no short order after the presidential declaration of disaster, and then ensuing declaration of disasters from state and local governments. And this has happened, I would say, just in the last month and a half. Why that process is important, these disaster declarations, it actually opens up certain federal resources that are only available in times of disasters, such as our disaster loans, which I'm going to talk about. And another thing that we have seen, which has really been the economic response, is a CARES Act. I believe it stands for the Coronavirus Aid and Recovery. I can't think of the acronym right now. Anyway, it's on a slide deck. I'm not doing the slide deck right now, but the CARES Act is really is a creator of a lot of these programs that you see up on this slide. Also, kudos to whoever picked this slide. It wasn't me who gave a slide. Somebody, I did not know this is what we're going to do. Usually I do a slide presentation, and somebody said, hey, give us some information for the slide deck. So I said my bio and my picture. I'm glad he did not put that up. I'm glad he put up this slide because this really captures all the new programs coming out of the CARES Act. So whoever picked this slide, it wasn't me. Kudos to you. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to give a high-level overview of each of these programs. Some of you are familiar with these programs. Some of you may have applied. Some of you may be thinking about applying. But all these programs that you see up on this slide are ensuing out of the CARES Act. The first one has been in the news a lot, starting at the bottom left, the Paycheck Protection Program. You know, if you turn on the TV or pick up the newspaper, you probably heard of this. Maureen, just quite frankly, and if you watch late night comedy, you probably heard of this program. This program is really popular because this is a forgivable loan for retaining your employees. So the idea behind the program is, you know, businesses would be able to qualify for a loan through their lender to retain their employees, to basically stay home, retain their employees during the stay-at-home orders and social distancing measures that state and local governments are taking. There are some stipulations of this. Like as I mentioned, this program, PPP program, is not a direct loan from the SBA. The SBA delegates authority to third-party lenders. Initially, when the program was launched, the lenders that were able to offer this program were SBA preferred lenders, and those are basically lenders that had a contract with the SBA to do SBA-backed loans. Now, that's a small pool of lenders. So what the SBA did was they did an expedited approval process for non-SBA lenders to offer this program to their customers. The whole idea and intent behind this law was to get this program to as many people as possible, to make it available to as many small businesses as possible, and some businesses that bank with non-SBA approved lenders. So, you know, we have not only major lenders, but we have community banks, local credit unions, such as Arlington Federal Credit Union. I got to give them a shout out. I think they were also instrumental in me being a part of this. Hannah and her team are just great over there. They're offering PPP. Another thing that we have, which is kind of unusual, is, which I was surprised to see, is we have a lot of fintech firms offering PPP. I've heard people getting PPP loans from sources such as PayPal. The whole idea was not limiting this just to traditional SBA lenders. And it's a good thing that we have this expedited approval process. Anecdotally, we've been hearing that more people have been successful getting PPP loans from these alternative lenders such as fintech, local community banks, credit unions, than traditional big lenders. Of course, you've probably heard of the controversies of this program. You've seen them in the headlines, and we can talk about those later, but I'm not going to go too much into detail on those controversies right now. But the idea was this money was made available, and there were some loopholes in the legislation, in the law, that were exploited by non-small businesses, or businesses which you would not think of as small businesses that are on this webinar right now. Of course, there's an equity issue and a fairness issue of that these folks got the funds before the folks on this webinar did. So, hopefully, we rectify that in the future with CARES Act 2.0. Now, just before I go further, a lot of these programs, as you may know, are out of funding currently. You have probably seen in the news as I have, that there is legislation which is in the process of being passed and heading to the president's desk. Until we get the president's signature, it is not official, but you know, you're seeing the same news reports I am, and it looks encouraging. Looks like, you know, we will get a CARES Act 2.0, where funding for these programs would be replenished. So, and there might be some changes as well with the reauthorization of these programs. So anyway, finishing up on PPP, the way the program works, we have a uniform process of underwriting these loans. So it does not matter if you go to your bank that you've used for 30 years or you go to a fintech institution, they're going to use the same underwriting process. And the underwriting process is they take your average monthly payroll cost and they multiply it by 2.5, and that becomes your loan amount. You know, so that becomes your loan amount. Now, you got to use at least 75% of your loan proceeds, your loan disbursement, for payroll cost. The other 25% you could use for other costs, such as your rent, your utilities, any other fixed expenses you have. But at least 75% needs to be used for payroll if you want your loan forgiven. Okay, so that's the stipulation of the PPP. The loan terms, you know, we have our uniform as well. You get the same loan terms irrespective of what lender you go to. 1% interest rate for no payment for the first 6 months, no personal guarantees, no prepayment penalties. The SBA guarantees 100% of the loan to the lender. So we want to de-risk the lender for making this loan to small businesses. So that's just the grand overview of the program. And be happy, we can talk about that later during the discussion period. Let me go into the EDL. Oh, if you could just go back to the slide, please, the previous slide. I wanted to touch on those other programs, if possible. Could we go back to that previous slide, please?
Sure. We're trying to keep our guest time in mind, but go ahead and wrap up.
Sure. Okay. Well, the other programs I'll just talk about are real quickly then. The EDL Advance, so the Economic Injury Disaster Loan has been around before the CARES Act. It was augmented through a special loan advance provision, a $10,000 loan advance, which is forgivable. It's up to $10,000, not automatically $10,000. You get a loan advance of $1,000 for every employee. We have an XP Express Bridge Loan Program of up to $25,000, which you get through SB Express lenders. And the last piece I want to just touch on, if you have an outstanding SBA loan, you could forgive that for 6 months, principal, interest, and any fees. And this is a new provision coming out of the CARES Act. So that was a real quick 10 seconds on all those. I'll be happy to touch on that a little bit more, but I want to be mindful of everyone's time here.
Thank you, Nick. Chat is lighting up, so let me turn it over to Amanda handling the questions and answers. Take it away, Amanda.
Hi guys, I know everybody's very interested in these programs and the loans and whatnot. I know that's been most of our questions we've got. And I see that we have Rafael Martinez on here, who's from Atlantic Bank, and I know he's definitely a great resource. We can kind of share that with our businesses here. Rafael, let me know if there's a question you want to take. Just shoot me in the chat and I can maybe unmute you. But I do want to just address one thing. If people have not been watching the chat, we have heard that the payroll protection program was closed, that was full and done, but there is rumors and everything that it's going to be opening back up. So I do want to let people know that we did receive an answer in the chat that the president is supposed to sign the bill today at noon. So we'll know more at noon. At the moment, there is no indication that a new application needs to be filled out. If you've already started one and then we're told by your bank that the applications are done, we have no more money, sorry, then you shouldn't have to start over. You should be okay to just continue with the application you've got. So we will keep an eye up on that and also be sharing that information out through our social medias and can make sure everybody is connected with whoever they need to be connected with. So let us know if you have any issues with that. One I want to direct to Tara if she's been able to join us again. I know okay. So I will skip that one for now, and I will send that to her. It was, how realistic is it to expect testing on demand for small business employees who had to stay open? And a question about if anybody is aware of how many businesses in Arlington have actually been forced to close, how many are still open, what those data points are. And I do believe that based on the surveys AED has done, that they have some of that data. So we will make sure we connect with Tara when this is over and her technical glitches are done, we can get that information out to this group. The next one is, how successful have small businesses been to secure loan or grants? And we can direct that to Nick. Do you know how many businesses in the area, small businesses, have actually been able to get through on that program?
Okay, so there is data that was released, and I'll be happy to forward that to you guys after the webinar on PPP loans, where they were made. I think this is nationwide data, and how many were in the district, how many were in Virginia. I'm not sure if it's broken down by counties. I could definitely share that with you after the call.
Yeah, that'd be great. We will definitely get that information out to everyone who's on this chat as well. Our next one is, how do you help spread the word about your availability, that if your business is still open, if you are operating online and whatnot. I will just do a quick plug for that. We do have the large orange banners that were kind of shown in our first slide in that collage of photos. We do have these large orange banners that we are giving away to local businesses. We have a variety there. We started out with the restaurants because they were the first kind of hardest hit with having to close their dining rooms. But we do have some that just say open for any business. So that can apply to anyone. They say open for takeout or delivery, open for takeout only. And we also have some that say, like, find us online, we've gone virtual. So if you need a banner for your business, contact CPRO. You can contact us at CPRO@columbiapike.org, and we will make sure we put you on the list and try to get more of those printed for you. Does anybody else want to speak to how the best strategies you've seen to getting the word out about how you're still open? Travis, Diana, either of you have success in one way or the other?
Social media is king right now. I mean, everybody's on Zoom, everybody's, reading on their Kindles or their iPads, everybody's on Facebook, everybody's communicating through social media right now. So, I mean, we look at our stories or our posts, and you'll see the same person like every 5 minutes is checking in to like something. And I think it's just a way to pass time for people, but it's also a great way to communicate where it's voluntary. Like, you don't have to go look at our posts. You don't have to look at our stories, but if you want to follow us, it's there for you. Super easy.
Yeah, we have a lot of students and families talking about us on social media and sharing our information, sharing our posts. So that's definitely been the most valuable. We still have a little bit of an ad budget that we have on Google Ads and Facebook, significantly reduced, more for our virtual program. But I think just word of mouth is by far the most effective.
Also, I think the videos of like what you're doing, like the short videos of what you're actually doing, I think we're getting a lot of hits on those. Like, we did a virtual class videos, like kind of a little bit of promo videos on like how we're operating. Because sometimes, it just looks like we have a laptop here and just, doing the classes, but there's a lot more equipment involved. And so we kind of show the background of it. And so people are really warming up to that and, seeing that, hey,
the behind the scenes.
It's behind the scene gets them excited. Like, right now is the time for innovation and creativity. So we're getting a lot of like views on those videos as well. So, if businesses that, even like, I think it would be cool to see what Rebellion's doing in background, like preparing food and, those I think would excite everybody, because all the hard work that puts in, because one of the things that we say is that people only see results, people don't see the process. And then but people would love to see the process and the result, because that's the beauty of getting the most pleasure out of it, is seeing the process and and seeing the great results. So I think if that's been really well. We've been getting a lot of hits and likes and views on those videos as well. So
great, thank you. I think you're absolutely right. Social media is king for a lot of these questions, like how you can find out what businesses are doing together, how you can stay in touch, how you can engage your customers better. It's really going to be social media all around. So yeah, thank you for that. Also, I think Kim's gonna.
I think the businesses here would love to connect with them. So Travis and all the other businesses, and
absolutely,
it'd be good to kind of sit down and figure out. I think we can help each other. I'm sure Travis has a lot of ideas for Pentagon MMA, and we have some ideas that we're trying to do, like about wine and dine type of thing. Wine and what did we say? Wine and what was that? We were trying to work on wine and work on wine.
There's a lot of stuff
sort of
going
thing
on.
that we're thinking about. But, we can, I think, definitely tweak it and make it a little
Stephen
bit better.
has a
Sorry,
Steve.
Yeah. I just wanna say thank you to everybody for joining us. Today's Buy a Nurse lunch program is gonna be Cafe Saison is providing the lunch, and they are reopening.
Today.
And this is a great story because they were closed. They were the first restaurant we used for Buy a Nurse lunch program. It brought them a lot of attention, and now they are reopening today. So please send your love to Cafe Saison. They are back with us, back up and running. And I turn it over now to Kim. Thank you so much, everybody. Clearly, we need to do this again.
Yes, we do. We absolutely
Wrap
do.
it up.
We did not think we were going to run over the hour, and I think we could go another hour if we wanted to, but I know everyone is busy. Everyone is focused on pivoting and innovating and doing all these cool things. We have been asked to maybe do a combined one of community and businesses. We'll take that back. We'll take a look. And in the meantime, we are a connector. So if you heard anything today that you want to get involved in, please let us know. We will connect you. Stephen, you have something else?
Hey, this is a great time to remind people that we have a business listserv.
Yes, thank you. Yes, ColumbiaPike.org. You'll see it up on the slide. I'm going to let everyone go. Signing off. Wakanda forever. Namaste. Stay 6 feet away. Be safe, everyone. Please take care.
Thank you.